What's up, y'all? Kyle Hamilton here. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas, Connor, and Ryan in the Week 0 podcast.
Jackson rolling out, 3rd and 7 after the penalty, and it's a completion to Kuma. He's still running. Kuma breaks free against a tired defense as the Hokies deliver the dagger here in Tallahassee. Empty look for Richardson. Oh, that is danger! Oh my! Keidron Smith cuts inside, and he's gonna pick 6 it in the swamp. Cat scratch fever Smith.
DJ is picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick 6, Benjamin Morrison. Nix drops back underneath. Touchdown, Bucks. Wow. Chase Taylor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 0 podcast. As there's a what is going on with Josh?
Yeah, I'm gonna hijack this real quick. Go on and tell him, Grandpap.
Yes, I'm Josh's grandpap, Jim, and he's actually here visiting me in Pittsburgh right now. So I know Pitt is a really good team, but we even have a little bit better one here, the Steelers, okay? And here you go. So I know it's not college. This is my favorite team, and this is my favorite grandson. So there we go. Have a nice podcast.
I will. Thanks,
Good.
Grandpap. No.
There you go.
Absolutely. Love you, Grandpap.
Wow, what an intro. We're so good at the cold opens. That was wow.
That was fantastic.
So we have Josh's grandpap coming. Oh, and we lost Josh. That's all we lost. That's all we had Josh for. That's all we needed him for. He was here for that, and that's it. Meanwhile, we have a Lucas replacement here in Blake Harris. Starting next week, we're gonna have USC in place of Oregon for that intro. Obviously.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Here comes Josh. Josh is just crawling back. My God, Josh, that should have been perfect. You should have just like.
I should have just left.
You should have just left and not come back. Oh my God.
All right.
So anyway, I'm Connor. That's Ryan. I'm not even going to do the nicknames. That's Josh, and that is Blake Harris. This is Week 0 podcast, and this week we have Blake here, our resident true Pac-12 aficionado, because he went to ASU. And he's a USC fan, and he was going to join us to talk about the entire crazy week and a half that the Pac-12 has had. Well, the Pac-4 now, actually. So we're gonna
Pac-4 time,
now.
baby. Pac-4 edition.
No. It's the 4-pack.
Pac-4 after dark. Pac-4 after dark.
4-pack.
It's the 4-pack.
4-pack.
Yeah, 4-pack.
Who doesn't like going to the liquor store and buying a 4-pack?
Right.
Never in my life.
Especially when 2 of the 4 is Stanford and Cal. I mean,
that's true. And the ACC is like dragging its feet because they don't want to add Stanford and Cal because they don't bring any money to the table. They don't.
They'd be losing money if they add them.
Oh no, they would. The amount of money teams would be spending to fly out there is not worth it. It wouldn't. Probably. Now, which order should we do? Should we talk about the craziness first?
Yeah, craziness first, then Pac-12.
Craziness first, then do the quarterbacks. Now, Josh, Blake has a deadline. He has to leave at 5, so we got 45 minutes. So hopefully we don't drag our feet too damn long. But Blake, I mean, you can talk. I asked you, what's people's been reactions since even USC, UCLA left. Because that was that earlier? Was that before this past season, or was that?
Yeah, that was I think like a year ago. I can't even remember if we were still doing shows whenever that broke. But yeah, no, that's been with how much has gone on. That almost seems like it's in the past with how much has gone down since that big one.
Yeah. So so obviously now Oregon and Washington have joined them in the Big Ten. The Big 12, the Big 10 quarterback rankings is going to be crazy start for next year when we do that. Arizona State, and Utah and Colorado have all gone to the Big 12, and that has left Cal, Stanford, Washington State, and Oregon State in the Pac-12 for next season, for 2024-2025, I believe. So, Blake, I mean, you went to Arizona State. You grew up as a USC fan as well, if my memory serves correct, and you're living in LA. So, why don't you give your thoughts on this whole situation? And what do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Pac-12 is going to bring teams back in, or do you think those teams are going to join the Mountain West or the ACC or whatever the heck is going to happen to those 4 remaining teams?
Yeah, last year, I'll just start from the beginning. When the whole SC and UCLA to the Big Ten thing happened, we all hated it. I mean, everyone in LA hated it. I'm pretty sure every USC and UCLA fan that I know of hated it just because it makes no sense. Like, putting 2 teams out on the West Coast to a conference that's mainly East Coast bound is just dumb, especially, when they're the 2 powerhouses that they are. And when you think of the Pac-12, like, those are probably the 2 teams you think of, the most. So when that whole thing went down, I hated it. It was absolutely dumb. And everyone kind of in the back of their mind was thinking, okay, what's going to happen with the Pac-12 moving forward? Because once you take out essentially the 2 powerhouses, the 2 teams that dominate, California, the West Coast, are you kind of screwed? And there was a part of me that was like, okay, well, it's only 2 teams. Maybe if you add like San Diego State and Fresno State, or maybe add a couple more, you'll get to 14. You'll have a decent conference moving forward. It isn't going to be what it once was, but with how many teams expected or expected to be pretty solid this year in the Pac-12, I was thinking it's not the worst thing. And then, a couple of weeks ago, I think Colorado was like the first one where they were just all of a sudden out of the blue were like, okay, we're going to the Big 12. And once that domino kind of fell, I was like, yeah, it's going to hit the fan. It's going to hit the fan fast. And then clearly there were reports that Arizona was going to go to the Big 12. And if that was the case, I knew ASU would follow wherever Arizona goes. And then there was that report that came out, I guess, literally like minutes before the Pac-12 was meeting, how Oregon and Washington, it sounds like, kind of caught everyone off guard and kind of screwed them in a way. And once you lost those 2, because you had SC and UCLA, but then the next tier was going to be Oregon and Washington. Those were going to be the 2 teams that would keep the conference afloat. But yeah, once they dipped, it didn't matter if all these teams went for the Big 12 if they stayed. Once those 2 schools left for the Big 10, I knew it was going to be over. I'm just glad that Arizona State, for the sake of it, has gotten out, so they're going to go to the Big 12. Football-wise, it'll be interesting. Basketball-wise, the Big 12 is now the best conference out there, so that'll be kind of hype. I'm not going to be as excited for football season as I once was, just because, again, growing up a USC fan, I grew up a Pac-12 fan, and then once I went to ASU, my alliance transferred over to ASU, and, I just love Pac-12 football. I think it's fantastic. Then we get a bad rap because you're not going to find a single person that hates Pac-12 after dark. If you find someone that hates it, they do not love college football, so I'm upset that that's going to be no more. In regards to what the future is, I hope
unless it's in Tempe.
Oh boy, yeah, unless it's in Tempe for 110 degrees. I'm hopeful that they can just poach a bunch of teams from the Mountain West and it essentially becomes the Pac-10, Pac-12 again, but I don't think that's going to happen. So Pac-12 as we know it might be dead. And in regards to next year, I'm not exactly certain because I think next year I don't see how they have a conference of only 4 teams. So we'll see, but at this point, it sounds like nobody wants the remaining scraps. No offense to Washington State and Oregon State, but no one wants them. So I don't know what's going to happen.
And what also
if you don't like, oh geez, Ryan, you're like repeating yourself.
No, I was just saying, like, what's also kind of odd about the situation is normally you'd think teams like a Boise State, a Utah State, Boise State, if I can remember correctly, Blake, they've been like connected to the Pac-12 for a long time. I know that San Diego State came out publicly not too long ago and said they weren't going to leave the Mountain West for the Pac-12. So it's kind of weird to see that these group of 5 teams now, it's like they see these openings that, back 10 years ago during the BCS days, they'd probably jump at to join the Pac-12. Now it's like nobody wants to be the teams that join a conference that is dying, which is kind of odd. But what are your thoughts on that, Blake? I mean, do you think that it just doesn't incentivize a team like Boise State when they've got it good in the Mountain West right now to leave?
Yeah, I mean, especially now, like, it would have been one thing if prior to all this happening a couple of weeks ago, like, let's just say Boise State and San Diego State, they would have stepped up and been like, all right, let's move to the Pac-12. Not saying that would have saved the conference, but at least then at that time it would have been, they still would have, it would have been a 12-team conference next year. And now, yeah, it's like, why would you risk leaving the Mountain West when you're actually going to a worse situation? So it's just like, I guess the timing with everything is just absolutely brutal because of how it all transpired so quickly. In hindsight now, looking back at it, it sure wouldn't have been the worst thing about a decade ago if the Pac-12 would have actually been able to land Texas and Oklahoma like they were rumored to all those years ago. Because if that was the case, the SEC would be just fine. The Big 12 would probably be a little hurt, but they'd be just fine. The Pac-12 would be thriving, and college football probably wouldn't be too messed up like it is now. But again, I don't think a decade ago everyone was expecting us to get to this point. I also have to say I do love Lucas's Dan Lanning owns Colorado, because my God, were those comments fantastic a couple weeks ago. I already love Dan Lanning, but that was just unbelievable.
It really is weird how despite how they had so little impact on the Pac-12, they're like, that's the domino of them. You mentioned it. Them leaving is the domino that's led to the almost complete collapse of the Pac-12, which is kind of weird, I guess, that you would think about it when a team has been that irrelevant outside of a year or two to have that much power of it. It'd be like Rutgers leaving the Big Ten, and the Big Ten collapse somehow. Like that's the equivalent.
Yeah, one win Colorado leaves, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose.
I mean, that would be
scrambles.
That would be more like Ohio State, Michigan. Well, I can't give UCLA that much credit. Ohio State and Michigan State leave the Big Ten first, and then later Rutgers leaves, and then it collapses. I think it was just all about money. Yeah, they saw how much the Big 12 was going to pay Colorado, and Oregon and Washington were like, "Oh,
yeah, let's
get way more money."
And you know what's hilarious about it, Lucas, is like, Blake said, Pac-12 teams hated the move. Like, fans of these teams hated the move to the Big Ten. Unless you were an Ohio State or Michigan fan, because of how weak the Big Ten has been in terms of top to bottom, outside of maybe Penn State. Ohio State, Michigan fans are the only Big Ten fans out there that are like, yes, we love this. We like this. We get to play USC, Oregon, Washington. We get to play actual competition now. Every other Big Ten team, especially like Rutgers fans, which is already painful enough to be a Rutgers fan, like, you think those guys are going to be tuning in?
I'm just waiting for Blake to fly 6 hours to see USC play Maryland in.
Yeah, I'm good.
No!
Get to meet Blake for the first time when that happens.
Yeah,
part of the
I'll
reason
see you, buddy,
why,
when you come to Indiana.
Part of the reason why I'm actually all for this move is because I don't know if they're going to change it in the future. I'm not really sure what they're going to end up doing, but I know for a fact in 2024, UCLA and USC only have 4 away games. So 4 away games, like, especially for Oregon in one of the hardest places to play in the country, I am all for that.
But if I'm a Big Ten fan, I hate that, because I think that at that point you're favoring the West Coast schools and giving them slight advantages, which if I'm the Big Ten, why am I catering to the wants and the needs of a USC?
Because you want to see an Oregon, a USC versus Ohio
I know, but how
State.
Is that fair to an Ohio State that has to play an extra, or Michigan that has to play?
Hey, we need that game back anyways, man. They need to come to Austin. They got lucky with COVID year. They didn't have to come over here.
They did.
So I mean, my thing is that if the Pac-12, depending on what happens, whether the 4 remaining teams go to the Mountain West and Pac-12 goes away, or the teams join the Pac-12, if those teams join the Mountain West, do we then have the Mountain West is the new 5th group of 5
No,
conference, or do you think it would be the American?
No, actually,
I think the Power 4.
I don't think it would be the American or Mountain West. I think at that point, because in my opinion, if you're going to add a Power 5, I don't know, you guys might hate this, but I think the Sun Belt should be because top to bottom, they are the most competitive and right now the best group of 5 conference. Right now, we saw it last year. Appalachian State took down Texas A&M, almost took down North Carolina in week 1. Marshall beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. East Carolina. or well, East Carolina.
No, that's
in
the
American,
ACC.
But I mean, they top to bottom. You got Coastal Carolina, Troy, who's really good. They upset LSU just a couple years ago. I mean, they've got some really solid teams, and they've got the markets. Like they've got Louisiana, they've got Florida, they've got Carolina. I think that would be the perfect fit for a Power Five conference. And I'm surprised I'm not seeing more of the Sun Belt being talked about.
I think we're thinking a little too much in the box here. We don't need 5 power conferences. We don't. Do I think that a bunch of other teams could come up and create another power conference? Sure, but I don't see it coming from Tulane. I don't see it coming from any of those others. I think they're far more likely to join an established conference than creating their own, which is why I think the Pac-12 really is in a whole lot of trouble. I just don't think that they're going to be able to bring in a bunch of these smaller teams and still be considered a Power 5.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, would any of those? I'm not saying like a new 5th conference would be created. I'm just talking about like which conference potentially would be considered that if they wanted to keep it as a Power 5, which conference would?
Yeah, that was actually a good question.
Conference.
Who would you guys? Blake? If you had to pick one group of 5 conference to take over that final Power 5 spot, who would you take?
Well, first off, it's eventually become the Power 3 because I'm sure the ACC in 10 years from now is going to be no more when those teams start, dipping left and right. But no, it is an interesting. It's going to be interesting because again, the 4 teams that are left in the Pac-12, like if you add them to the Mountain West, like is adding Washington State and Stanford and Cal, like is that worthy of making them a Power 5? So I don't know. I do think I do like the Sun Belt being discussed because I do think the Sun Belt is slept on like crazy, but I probably would give the slight edge to the American Conference as of right now, just because I do think they have a stronger resume over the last few years. But like if a year from right now we're looking back and saying the Sun Belt's a better conference, like I would not be surprised. I just like if you had to like put money like right now, Blake's bets, like which conference do you think has better teams? I think it'd be the American, but like I said, the Sun Belt you can make the case. But again, eventually I'm sure it's just going to become the American Belt, and it's just going to be a 24-team super conference that has to go against the Atlantic Coast Pac-12 Mountain West.
Hey man, we forget the American can still hold that they have the 2018 national champs.
Yeah, that's right.
They had the 2018.
The banner is hanging up. The banner is hanging up.
Part of that question of the Power 5, though, I mean, in my opinion, I think there's only 3 teams outside of these Power 5 conferences that are actually worthy of being in a Power 5 conference, and that's Washington State. Whoa, we lost Josh. But that's Washington State, Oregon State, and Tulane. I think those are the only 3 teams that are deserving of a Power 5 position.
You wouldn't say Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina?
No.
Troy?
Nope.
I would throw I would add SMU just for the sole reason they're in Dallas. Yeah. I think if you moved them up, I think that they would. I think I wanted them in the Pac-12 years ago just because I was like, get a Dallas team in there.
SMU and Colorado can switch places.
How do you feel about North Dakota State? Because I've seen that brought up a ton. With the way they dominate FCS, a move for them.
They'll never make the move. They're never going to make the move.
No, because they're going to not be a national championship.
Yeah, their pair's not big enough to do it. Their pair's not big enough.
They'll stick to scheduling an Iowa team every now and then.
Yeah,
and then upsetting them and then being them just to prove that they can do it. So I'm waiting for North Dakota State versus Ohio State. It's going to happen one of these days, probably.
Hey, Oregon was supposed to play them in the COVID year too. They got lucky that they also got lucky.
I still stand by this. I think North Dakota State would have played Oregon closer than Ohio State would have that year.
I think they may have beat Oregon.
Because that's when they had Trey Lance.
They had Trey Lance. They were really good.
They also had the receiver.
Was that the Oregon year where you guys like 4-3 and won the division and won the conference at 4-3 or something?
Yes.
They also didn't they also have Christian Watson at wide receiver?
Yeah, they did. Oh,
Lucas.
Oh well.
we're losing people
Hey,
left and right. What the heck is going on?
Okay. On that front, if I drop out again, I'm not coming back.
All right.
Y'all have a good night. I'm not going to be fighting these issues all night.
Dude, I hit a button on my mouse and it.
Oh,
That was
okay.
All right. Real quick, I wanted to get Blake's thoughts on this because this was kind of breaking news yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, Blake. With the Stanford and Cal stuff to the SEC going on, I didn't know this as a Notre Dame fan, that Notre Dame, although they are not in the ACC conference, they have full voting rights in terms
Yeah, I did see that. I was like, what?
They are a full-time voting member of the ACC, and they are pushing hard for Stanford and Cal to join the ACC. People are saying, like, is that a motive? Because if Stanford and Cal were to join the
It's
ACC,
2 easy wins a year.
yeah, does Notre Dame join the ACC, or like what is the motive here? Like, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that partially because Notre Dame actually gets a revenue share of the ACC's TV deal, which is the 6 games that they schedule, and I didn't know this. They make more money from the ACC TV deal than Clemson and Florida State.
Yeah.
So they get more money from the ACC, and they're not a conference member in football.
Yeah, they finesse the system so hard on that. Like, no wonder why they want to stay independent and just make their schedule every year. Yeah, like, I figured that Cal and Stanford were going to bolt, but I just assumed it was going to be for the Big Ten, just because the Big Ten's like, all right, we'll take your academics. Like, I don't know how Stanford and Cal fit into the ACC. Like, you tell me, like, Florida State and Clemson, they're going to want to be going out to play a Friday night game at Berkeley. Like, no. Like, it also made sense for the Big Ten standpoint, just because, again, at this point, you're essentially half the Pac-12 again. So it's like, what's the difference? But if they're the lone 2 teams in the ACC, like, I think that's... I thought the moves to the Big Ten were done, but this would just be like absolutely ridiculous. Like,
Georgia Tech would be ecstatic. They would be like, man, we get
that's 2 wins for them too. That's 2 wins.
Yeah,
for them.
that's why all these
Hey, that's 2 wins for Virginia Tech, probably.
That's why the ACC wants it to happen. All these teams are like, oh wait, 2 extra wins. All right, bring him over.
Licking those chops.
Because with the new schedule, that means you're going to be playing like Florida State and Clemson every other year or something. So now it's just like, cool, we can dodge that. We don't have to. We at least
they'll get a
2 free
schedule
wins
like
now.
how Louisville has this year. Like Louisville doesn't have to play Clemson or Florida State, and they have a cakewalk of a schedule. Could very easily go to 10-2.
Now, what are you guys' thoughts? And obviously, I think we talked about it a bit, just barely. But Florida State throwing a hissy fit and trying to get out of ACC. It sounds like
it's Florida State.
But,
what do you expect?
Do you think that they are serious about leaving, or is it all just?
I'm calling bluff because I'm calling bluff right now because if I'm the ACC, I'm looking at it. The Big Ten's not moving on their what you need to qualify as a Big Ten school, which is the AAU certified schools. Florida State and Clemson are not AAU certified. So even if they left the ACC for the Big Ten, they wouldn't be able to anyway because Mays Madman Phil. The SEC would be the only move, but there's been no talks about Florida State and Clemson to the SEC yet, at least. So that would be their only move at that point, was to go to the SEC.
It's interesting. I think these teams went out, but isn't there like that whole because of like the contract or something? These teams, like if they wanted out, they'd have to pay like
$200 million, to get out.
Yeah, I think if it was up to them, I think Florida State, Clemson, Miami, I think they'd be in the SEC already if they didn't have to pay that like $200 million whatever it is to get out.
And the only reason they're thinking of the Big Ten is
I think they would.
The only reason they're looking at the Big Ten is because the Big Ten is offering to pay for that money, pay for them to be able to get out of that contract. That's the only reason that's even a possibility right now.
It's so crazy how bad the contract the ACC signed themselves into. Like not just the teams, but the TV deal and all that. It's such a terrible deal that like I feel like that is the moment where teams were realized like once that contract was signed, teams were already be like, oh my god, we need to get out of this once the other deals were signed by the other leagues.
It screws the teams over. It screws the teams over, but I think it was also a smart move by the ACC in terms of their self-sustainability. Like they protected themselves. They put this stuff in place because they, figured that eventually Clemson and Florida State were going to do this and want to leave. So, I mean, you could say, yeah, it sucks for the teams, but if you're talking about the ACC doing what's best for themselves, I think they did that.
Yeah. And I don't think when it happened, they were expecting every team to just switch conferences like that.
Yeah, I mean it's all crazy. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be plenty more news as we go on. This Pac-12 season is going to be so weird. Knowing it's going to be like the last game time a lot of these teams are going to be playing each other,
which is annoying because it's going to be like an insane season where everyone's just going to be beating up on everyone. Like I think there are like 6 or 7 teams that could win the conference this year.
What if we get like a TCU story, but for the Pac-12 this year? Because like TCU talked about
Cal?
TCU talked about how they were pissed off, and like Texas Tech talked about how they were pissed off that Texas and Oklahoma were leaving, and that they were leaving for like greener pastures, and then they ended up beating Texas and Oklahoma last year. Do you think we see something like
Oregon State?
Like an Oregon State wins the Pac-12 title.
Yeah, Oregon State's just going to go nuts.
Or
Washington State. Yeah, Cal and Stanford, they're not going to do anything as per usual. They'll just sit back. But Oregon State and Washington State, they're just going to go just on a bender and just beat the crap out of everyone they play.
We'll see DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah. DJ is going to get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think that's good. I think we just talked about DJ. I think that's a good transition.
It's a nice transition.
Yes, nice transition. Let me share my screen.
Hey, you learn a thing or two working as a writer.
Hey, I need DJ Uiagalelei to be awful this year, so that way he can quit football and begin his Dodgers career. Since he was drafted by them.
Oh right, you guys drafted him.
He was.
Yeah.
What was it like the 30th round or something?
Yeah, the very last round, the 20th round, they drafted him.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Oh my god. Okay, so. I don't know if everyone that I had here is going to be the correct starter. I guess we're just going to go by how it is. So, who is
speaking
the worst
of quarterbacks?
starter?
Before we get into this, speaking of quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, first NFL time, 2 for 4, 13 yards and interception. Woo!
Yep. No, I mean, apparently apparently the Texans O-line was like not protecting him at all. He was getting destroyed back there from what I've been
Color me shocked.
Hey, real quick, Dorian Thompson-Robinson looked amazing in his debut.
Who's he on?
The Browns. He went nuts.
Levis is going to go crazy on Saturday, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Let's go,
I'm
Josh.
sure he will.
All right.
Let's go.
Just
Let's go.
Okay. So, we have Blake, we have Lucas here, so I'm sure they have all the insider knowledge and then about who is who. What are you guys' thoughts on who is the worst starting quarterback this year in the Pac-12?
Go ahead, Blake.
I mean, it's kind of like an easy one because there are so many good quarterbacks in the Pac-12 where essentially it gets knocked down to I think you have 2 choices. I think it just becomes between Stanford and Cal. And honestly, at this point, I don't even remember who's Stanford's starting quarterback supposed to be for this upcoming year.
Let me see if I need to.
I'm pretty sure it's Ari Patu.
Ari Patu or Ben Finley for Cal. It's these two. It's these two right here.
Yeah, I was going to say Plummer left for I think Purdue, so he left Cal, so he's not there anymore. So
no. Plummer left for Louisville.
Oh, that's right, Louisville. Then someone's. It's confusing. There's like a pipeline there. Honestly, at this point, just put them both together because put Cal and Stanford together.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Okay. Yeah. Now, who is 9? Because there is a lot of good names on this. Really, at this point,
sure.
Like this. Just because he's a rookie or he's a freshman, do we put Dante Moore down here just because he has not started his entire game?
Well, real quick, I wanted to point this out.
Oh, he's not going to start?
Like, I don't know if you saw that, but I know I saw your video the other day or yesterday.
I wasn't sure.
But
it's going to be that guy from Kent State.
Dante Moore, Blake, does not even look like he's going to start this year.
Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't been paying attention. I saw there was
he
I
wants
saw
out
a
of
comment
UCLA already.
Oh God, I did
they're not
hear
gonna
something
pay him.
about that, and then he had to like issue a statement saying like, "Oh no, I'm committed to the Bruins." But yeah, I saw someone did a comment about that Dante Moore, and I'm like, the 5-star recruit's not winning the job. Like
Yeah.
what?
It's a
Is he the new?
enough,
Is he gonna be the new? Is he gonna be the new Tate Martell? Because God,
Oh,
remember
God.
Blake when you were following Tate Martell?
Well,
When you
Good
were
old times.
talking about him.
funny enough, the guy that beat him out is a Cal transfer.
I thought it was the Kent State kid.
Garbers? I thought he was from Cal.
No,
That's
he
who the
just
starting
no,
quarterback's
just-
going to be.
he just
Garbers was
transferred in.
wasn't Garbers from Washington, or was that another one that came in? They
I
had
don't
some
know,
Washington
man.
transfer
UCLA
come
is
in.
irrelevant.
Either way,
Well,
he's not going to
Put
start.
him down there.
Yeah, if
he's not
Dante
gonna
Moore is
start.
not winning the starting job, put him down there.
But,
Put him
Put him
probably at
down
the,
there.
I would put him at 12 if he's
Yeah.
Put him at
not
12.
gonna
He's not even
use
going to
There you
start.
go.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, he can be in place of the other UCLA player, the other UCLA.
QB. Yeah.
Lucas, how much
but
of this is
still.
also that we're as salty as Notre Dame and Oregon fans because he did us 30 and recruitment?
I'm not worried about it. I like Austin Novosad. I like Austin Novosad better.
CJ Carr
Okay.
is better.
Okay, now obviously all these guys everyone else is like pretty dang good.
Shadeur.
For the most part,
Pine.
It's gonna be really tough.
Shadur's
Drew
number
Pine.
9.
Drew
Shadur's
Pine.
Drew
number
Pine?
9. No.
Yes.
Drew Pine's number 9.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
hmm
Number 8 Shadur.
Where's Pine at? Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Unfortunately. Well, it beats what they had last year. I will say it beats what they had last year. So that is right.
Yeah,
It is an
Blake,
upgrade.
What are your thoughts on Drew Pine? I saw your video, and I know you said you didn't go too deep into it, but as a Notre Dame fan who watched him last year and almost blew my head off watching him
He was
run
not
offense,
bad, dude.
He was because of Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
That's why he wasn't bad.
Oh, my goodness.
But either way, what are your thoughts on him as the new Arizona State quarterback?
Yeah, I just like to just laugh at it just because of the whole Notre Dame aspect. But again, like he's not horrible. Like he's like a more than serviceable quarterback. Like if this conference wasn't like just loaded at quarterbacks, he'd probably be like the 4th or 5th best. And like I said, after what I had to witness last year, like this is just a massive, massive upgrade. So I don't hate it again because I wasn't expecting them to add
You
anyone.
also have the best quarterback coach in the country as their head coach.
There you go. There you go.
So,
Who was your quarterback? Was it Jaden Daniels?
Yeah,
No.
a couple years ago.
A couple years ago. And
Oh
Yeah.
Oh no, that's
no, who was it?
Maybe
Imani. No,
last year it was
who
Emory Jones.
Emory
wasn't it?
Jones, yeah.
It was Emory Jones for
Oh,
like 6
no.
games, and then after everyone realized
Yeah.
how bad he was, they just brought
Was
in
that,
some like walk on.
Burkett, Trent
Yeah.
Burkett.
He was like a walk on. They were like,
Wasn't
"All right, you're
Emory
better."
Jones a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school.
I don't know if he was 5-star,
I
but
don't
he was
think
pretty
so.
high.
Him and AR. But
Okay.
next guy is definitely Sanders. Has to be.
Spencer
Sanders?
Shadur Sanders.
It has to be.
Shadur.
Shadur.
He's the only one other than Dante Moore that is.
I don't know, man.
No,
Lucas,
Division
I don't know if
I
you want to
football.
do that, man, because Blake got absolutely blasted in his comment section for having Shadur Sanders at 42.
Yeah, dude, people were so upset because I had him like at 42, and I'm like, the dude literally has not thrown a single pass like at the FBS level. For all we know, this dude could just suck. Like I'm sure if Drew Pine was playing
Jackson
at Jackson State, the dude would be putting up Heisman caliber numbers. So yeah, I want to pump the like if Shadur Sanders like throws for like 3,000 yards, rushes for like 500 yards, I wouldn't be shocked. But like prove that you can do it first. So
Get Colorado to a bowl game, and we'll talk.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, is it DJ Uiagalelei is next?
I'm gonna
Cameron
say-
Ward. I think Cam Ward.
Cam
I think it's a
Ward?
toss up between those two. I think he could go either.
I'd
Yeah,
probably
I
go
agree.
Ward. I'd probably go
You go
Ward.
Ward.
I don't know.
Just
Like
because
I
for
would
whatever reason,
rather
I think
have I'd rather have Ward as my quarterback, but if DJ if it actually just clicks at Oregon State,
like
then-
Bo.
then
Oregon.
he could be like, I mean, there's like a possibility where DJ finishes as like the second best quarterback in the conference this year if everything goes right. But there's also a chance he could be like the 9th or 10th best.
Who's the Washington State quarterback?
Isn't that
Cam Ward?
Cam Ward.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of who's that? Who's the Who's the quarterback number
Him?
4?
For who?
Oh, Jaden Delora. He's
yeah.
Arizona's
Oh, okay,
quarterback.
okay.
Yeah, he's at Arizona.
I was blanking.
Arizona. Arizona.
Would you put? Do you think then it'd be DJ at 6?
DJ 6, Delora at 5.
Yeah.
Delora
Yeah.
at 5. Okay.
The top 4 is going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Okay. Now we're gonna say who. So
I
let's
think
hear
4
what
is
Blake
easy.
has to say.
I think 4
The
is
4
easy.
is easy. 4 is easy.
Oh, is it
Blake?
Penix?
Well,
It's
I was gonna say,
it's
what-
Cam.
It's Cam Rising.
Go ahead.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say as well. Cam Rising.
He's
at
a great
number 4.
winner. He's a great winner, but I wouldn't say he's a better quarterback than the next.
He's
3
also
guys.
coming. He's also coming off a major. He's also coming off.
You know what's
ACL,
hilarious though,
ACL.
Lucas?
tear.
And I'm
He's
sorry,
gonna be
Blake.
fine though.
I'm sorry, Blake, but this is me and Lucas will find this funny. Cam Rising has won 2 more Pac-12 titles than USC has in the last 5 years.
Hey man, that's fine. Josh is the one that would then start a heated argument with you about that. I just want Arizona State to go to a bowl game.
His first argument would be, "Oh, we had to deal with Clay Helton for so long. The Clay Helton years." That's all I hear from USC fans.
No, he told me that he still uses the Twitter account as his like USC burner, where he'll just use it because he doesn't want to use his main account, so he can like defend USC for whatever the case is, or if there's like something Norman or Oklahoma related, then he'll swoop it on that one. And,
My favorite.
and bow to you.
Wait,
My favorite
what
excuse.
is it? What is it? So we know which one it is. What's his burner?
Oh no, it's the Harris
Go ahead,
Highlight Show
Miles.
Twitter account.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's his USC burner.
Yeah.
Really quick,
So-
my
That's
favorite
funny.
excuse from USC fans last year was the 2 losses to Utah, especially the second one. The second one was, well, Caleb Williams was hurt. And the
Oh.
first one was, well, we played Utah on the road. And I'm like, so you guys just aren't supposed to win road games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one was just sad. Like the second one, actually, like Caleb Williams, I'm pretty sure could not like walk, but
Yeah.
still was managing to play. But yeah, the first one was just like, well, it was a hostile crowd. Like,
Yeah.
well done.
Hey man, I don't want to hear that not being able to walk excuse.
Yeah.
Bo Nix couldn't move a muscle and he beat Utah. So that's
Wasn't that
Anthony
the week
Richardson
after he
beat
got-
Utah.
Wasn't that the week after he got really, banged up against Washington?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he couldn't
Yeah.
move.
Oh,
He ran the
the
ball
best-
every time.
The best college
The best-
football quarterback?
no. The best excuse I've heard from USC fans about losing to Utah is that Caleb Williams didn't lose to Utah. No. It was the USC defense that lost to Utah. Caleb Williams didn't lose to Utah.
Oh, didn't he like throw for like 500 yards or something that
In
game?
the first one,
And
yeah.
Oh, he absolutely, yeah.
and had like 5 touchdowns and SIG. Yeah, I remember that now. Where it's like,
Yeah.
the offense didn't lose; it was the defense that lost.
And then I
was like,
tell
what?
I tell USC fans, I'm like, that get used to having Lincoln Riley as your head coach. He doesn't believe in defense.
Man, they should be better defensively this year, but that's not saying that much.
Okay, let's get started. What do we think for number 3?
For
I'm
number
sure we know what
3,
I'm sure we can imagine how Lucas would have the order.
Yeah.
Sure.
think
Well,
so.
okay, there are 2 orders here. There's 2 orders here. You have the correct order, in which you have Bo Nix at number 1.
Yes.
But then you'll have the vast majority order, which I think would have Bo Nix at number 3 here.
which is just flat out wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that is correct.
I don't-
This is the wrong decision because he's number 1.
I don't.
But
It says,
Okay.
it says the guy who called him No Nicks for like about 4
I've-
years. Or 3
hold on,
years.
I'm here. Statistically, he's third. Statistically. However, his ability to win games and do all the things that some of these other quarterbacks can't do, I think that puts him above.
And I still to this day, and I don't know how Lucas feels about this. If Bo Nix doesn't get injured against Washington, they beat Washington. I am the firm believer. Like
If
if
he
Dan
doesn't,
Lanning,
in my opinion, if he doesn't get hurt, I think him getting hurt is a big part of it. I think also Kenny Dillingham getting a what Week 12 offer from Arizona State to be the next head coach didn't help either, because you watched those last couple games and their offense just did not look very good.
Bo Nix was the only reason you guys had a shot in that Oregon State game.
I think Kenny did a little Mario Cristobaling on us and checked out before the season was over. That being said, I would put Bo at 3. I think Penix. I think it's hard for you to not put Penix at 2 because he was the nation's leading passer last year. So regardless of offense, I just think you have to have him there. Obviously, we know who number 1 is.
Again, the right one is Bo Nix at 1, but for the sake of this, but I also agree. I just want to say I think Penix, like I forget what his numbers were last year. I want to say like 4,600 passing yards.
41.
Like, I actually think he could hit 5,000 this year. Like
they have probably the second best receiving core.
I was going to say they have the second best receiving core behind Ohio State, and if they make it to the Pac-12 title game and then play in a bowl game, so if he gets 14 games, like I think he can get to 5,000. So I think he's going to eat.
The disrespect to put Mr. I paint my nails ahead of the best college football player to ever put on a pair of cleats in Bo Nix is just disrespectful.
Right, Ryan's really hating.
Ryan's hamming it up
with a passion. I hate him.
If he hadn't done the painting,
if he didn't do the nails thing, if he didn't do the nails thing, I would have so much more respect for him.
No, you would. No.
He disrespects so hard. Like I had respect for Sam Darnold. I had actual respect for Sam Darnold, which was the last USC QB I considered, really good. I can't get over the F Notre Dame stuff. We painting on his nails before the game. I also didn't like that he got his Heisman moment against Notre Dame. And the third thing is
so that's where this all comes from.
Yes. And the fact that I still believe that the only reason USC won that game is because Notre Dame had 2 turnovers and Drew Pine was our quarterback. I feel like if we had Tyler Buckner, that game
it's just like how you hate that you're the reason why Texas is back, folks, is such a meme.
Yes, that's why I hate Texas so much, because of that meme.
Exactly. He hates Texas.
Do we think, and I genuinely believe that he should if he matches what he did last year, but could he become the second player to ever win 2 in a row or 2?
I think he'll be the odds-on favorite, but we always have that one quarterback. Max Duggan last year, he was close to winning it. We had Joe Burrow and
it's every year. It's just like there's a random
quarterback
comes
out of nowhere,
catches fire. Yeah.
And I think you also he'll have to put up better numbers. Like if he puts up the exact same stat line, like I don't think, unless like every other quarterback just sucks this year and there's like no one close. But I think you'd have to like improve. That's why sprinkle someone Penix, because if Washington wins 10 games and he's out here throwing for like 5,000 yards. Get in on that.
Makes sense.
Or at least be invited.
I did hear something from Joel Klatt that I really liked the other day, even though I don't really love Joel Klatt because he just hates on Oregon constantly.
He does.
He said that the voters should focus more on reasons to have him win the Heisman rather than reasons not to have him win the Heisman. And I think that's really important because I think over the years, like the Lamar Jackson deal where it was like he probably could have won 2 Heismans. I mean, very easily.
But his numbers were better his second.
But because Baker went to the playoff and everything, he was so magical, whatever, Lamar didn't win that Heisman, which, I mean, Lamar Jackson was the best player in college football that year.
The only reason I say no for Caleb Williams is because I look at that stretch. Like, USC is going to be 6-0 going into that Notre Dame game. Like, that's just a fact. They're going to cakewalk through that schedule. But after that Notre Dame game, that's when they get into a brutal schedule. They might have the most brutal last 6 games of any college football team this year. Notre Dame, Washington, Oregon, Utah, UCLA. I mean, to expect Caleb Williams and USC to come out of those games unscathed, let me tell you, if they come through all those games unscathed, they should be the number 1 team in the country. flat out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that's too tough of a schedule to ask anyone to go through unscathed.
I don't think anybody. If USC goes undefeated,
give them the national championship.
I mean, I think the only team that even could compare at that point is Georgia. And who knows if Georgia's going to be any good this year, honestly.
And it's not. And it's
I mean,
like
they're going to
USC,
be good, but who knows if they're going to be as good as well.
Like USC got like they improved a slight bit on defense. We'll see what that looks like. They got a little bit better on offense, but in terms like you look at the teams around them, Washington you could argue got way better than they did last year. Oregon you could argue got better than they did last year. UCLA, we'll see what happens with them. Oregon State is now a better team than they were last year. Notre Dame is now a better team than they were last year with the addition of Sam Hartman. I mean, that schedule is going to be a lot tougher than it was last year.
Yeah, I mean the Pac-12 is just like I said, I could see SC winning the conference. I could see Washington. I could see Oregon. I could see Utah. I could see Oregon State. What am I at 5? That's probably it. Like I think Arizona's going to be better. Like Washington State, they'll probably hover around, like 500. ASU, I mean, I'm interested to see if they. I mean, I think they'll get better. I think they'll be a borderline, bowl team. I can't wait for everyone to just realize that Colorado is going to be a 3-win team and be like, what happened,
dude?
Like
I'm not joking. When we did our Pac-12 breakdown, we posted our stuff on Twitter, and our tweet blew up for the wrong reasons. We got absolutely attacked on Twitter by Colorado fans who are saying that either Colorado was going to miraculously win the Pac-12 championship, make it to the CFP, that they were going to. I said I have a trouble finding 4 wins for you guys.
No,
I just got up their schedule, and I was going to say read
the schedule.
Okay, so at TCU, loss. Nebraska, loss. Colorado State, you should win that.
Is that Nebraska game at home, though?
It's in Colorado, but that's going to be 75% Nebraska fans probably.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna take that place over. And then at Oregon, loss. USC, loss. At ASU, if that's a nighttime game, loss. If it's a daytime game, that'll be a win because at night you don't come to Tempe and win.
Yeah, I don't know.
No one comes to Tempe.
ASU, no, it's either a night game or you have to be a top 5 ranked team.
Yeah, if you're a top 5 team coming to Tempe, you're not going to win. Or if you come for a nighttime game, you're not going to win. So, that's a TBD.
And if ASU is wearing special unis, they have to be wearing special.
Unis. Then it's over. Yeah, then it's over.
Arizona State is literally the Purdue of the Pac-12, or what the Pac-12 used to be. But for Purdue, it has to be like a midday game or like a noon kickoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
For them to upset you.
But it's like if you're going to Tempe at night, you're like, yeah, we're screwed. So TBD on that one. And then Stanford at home, that should be a win. But then at UCLA, loss. Oregon State, loss. Arizona, that is at home, so you could toss that one up.
Wins that pretty easy.
Yeah,
I think
they are going to be good. At Washington State, we'll wait and see. And then at Utah, that's a loss. So yeah, four is like. Man, Dion did a fantastic job if they get to 4 wins. But
if they get to 6 wins, somehow he'll be Pac-12 Coach of the Year.
If they get to 6 wins, he'll be gone. He'll be out.
I've said
his next
if they
game.
get to 6 wins, if they get to 6 wins and Florida State wins less than 10 games, he will be Florida State's next head coach.
Yeah, which is stupid. Because I think Mike Norvell is the perfect coach for Florida State.
They've wanted Norvell out for the past 4 years.
He is such a
good coach. Which is kind of funny because he's finally gotten the team good. Yeah,
they just hate him
if they finish
whatever reason.
If they go even if they go 10-4 and lose in the ACC championship or something and still win a bowl game, they'll probably find a way.
Well, it's because Florida State fans act like Ohio State fans, but don't have the same track record that Ohio State has the last decade.
So, Blake, I think you have to go because I believe it is 5:01 Pacific.
Yes. One final thing before I go, I just had to load up ASU's schedule just because I wanted to take a look, and I know for a fact Well, I was going to say, I know for a fact that Lucas is probably sweating his balls off, seeing that Saturday, November 18th, Oregon comes to town. So he's going to have his eyes on whether or not that's going to be a day or night game. Because if that game's at 7:30 p.m., Pac-12 After Dark on ESPN2, you're toast.
We can afford one, okay? We got to just run the table throughout the rest of the season. We can afford one and still make the playoff. I'll be okay.
No, Blake. You know what game he's sweating? He's sweating that Texas Tech game. That's
low key.
Game.
Low key.
I'm not even a little bit, but I am happy that I think they're gonna probably be ranked like 24 to start the year. So
it'll be a ranked win.
I'm looking forward to the Tyler Shuck revenge game.
Yeah, dude, you guys are gonna get as we used to say on the show back when he was actually at Oregon. You guys are gonna get shucked. You're gonna get shucked, man. Dude was lining up under center back in 2018 for Oregon.
Yeah,
and he still complete snaps.
And he's still in the college football. Oh my God.
Hey man,
he's gonna shuck the dust.
Hey man, Bo Nix was there too. I think for a couple of years we were calling him Bo Picks. That was his name.
No, it was no Nick. It was no Nick.
No
Nick has
Nick.
47 starts in college football. 47.
Yes.
He has
47 starts.
That's the most, I think that's like 3 more than the next highest guy in college football.
Real quick, Blake, before you go, didn't you say Tyler Shuck in your video is 8-0 as the starter of Texas Tech?
Yeah, I was on the Texas Tech website. I mean, I trust that the Texas Tech website was right, but it said at Texas Tech, in games in which Tyler Shuck finishes, the Red Raiders are 8-0 when he's their starting quarterback. So,
hey, Tyler Shuck's a
clearly
Pac-12 champ.
Clearly, what you do is you start the other quarterback, bring Shuck in after a drive, and then you win the game. Guaranteed
right.
12-0 season. Boom.
So we'll see. But boys, no, get me on a future Pac-12 show so we can dive in and talk more Pac-12 of some sort, because I'm upset that this had to be cut short.
We'll have to have you on for the
Absolutely.
USC
Yes,
Notre
sir.
Dame week. Blake, we got to.
Yeah,
hey, man,
we'll for the USC Notre Dame week.
Oh yes.
We're gonna do a show all together, and we gotta somehow get it to where you call in or something. We gotta get you to join us somehow.
You boys know I'll be there. Hey man, ASU Southern Utah week 1.
Yes, sir.
God,
that's a loss.
They're not gonna cover. Take Southern Utah with the points.
All
right, boys.
The 21.5 point spread. Take Southern Utah.
Take Southern Utah. Easy money. All right, boys. It was good catching up, and I'll see you guys in a future Pac-12 show of some kind.
All right, Blake.
All right, homies.
For sure, Blake.
Peace.
Later.
Oh man, I love Blake. And
Blake
yes,
is
Seth.
awesome.
Yes, Seth. We have complimented Ryan on his background. Oh.
All right.
Oh,
we got Phil. We got
Phil's here.
Triple M Peters.
Oh boy.
Why'd you not join us earlier, dude?
Party arrives.
The party
And
is
6 is a crowd, ain't it?
I'm hearing you guys like twice. Oh, because I have you on YouTube as well. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
You're helping boost our numbers.
Right.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
juicing the numbers. Right.
I'm gonna. I'm actually. Actually, guys, I have to go. So
okay.
sorry, man. Phil, we got to do a show or something together. We really do.
Absolutely, Lucas. Where have you been, man?
Bro,
Yeah.
I've been so goddamn.
Later, guys.
You know what, Phil? Okay,
Peace,
see you,
Josh.
Josh. You know what,
See
Phil?
ya.
What we need to do when Maryland plays Michigan, you need to have me on your show as well.
Absolutely.
As
in fact,
as a somewhat Maryland fan.
as a somewhat Maryland fan, I'll be at the game, by the way. But
Okay.
in fact, every week I got a plan to bring on somebody like you guys do, bring somebody on to represent the team that we're gonna play, including ECU. Actually, I'll be on Pirates Radio and simulcasting to the Maze Madman channel week 1. That should be fun.
Don't mess around with the Pirates.
You gotta be
man.
careful
Don't
with
mess around.
ECU. You gotta be careful. Is the ECU at home, or is I'm guessing it's at home, right?
Oh no, we would never travel to ECU.
Michigan isn't NC State.
No,
They
you're
would
not.
never
You're not
schedule
Virginia. You're not Virginia Tech, and would willingly travel to a much smaller school just
Connor,
to get their ass
They're
kicked.
not North Carolina State, who started the season as a top 10 ranked team and then goes on the road against ECU. And
Well,
then
look, it doesn't matter because we tend to lose to like smaller schools in the big house too. So that's
but that East Carolina team, I'm telling you right now, Phil, that East Carolina team, I was just going through because I run the UTSA account for Sideline Sports. That ECU team is going to be really good this year.
And
Ryan's out
what's
here,
the conference
Ryan's out here
playing?
making moves. You run the UTSA sideline Twitter account?
Yep,
He has been for a minute now.
Oh, dang. Dang. I didn't know that. Okay. What's up, Phil? How are you doing, man? It's been a minute since I've seen you, at least.
It has been a while. I just wanted to come on and defend Caleb Williams against Ryan's onslaught and nonsensical reasons for hating him. Other than obviously
like CJ Stroud. So if CJ Stroud beat Michigan, which never happened.
Well, it didn't. And CJ Stroud is just as much as our quarterback as he is there.
Exactly. But okay, an Ohio State quarterback or the other state, if the other state quarterback were to beat Michigan,
JT Barrett,
I hate JT Barrett.
If he painted his nails, F Michigan, and had his Heisman moment in the big house.
I agree. Look, I would. Well, first of all, like the nails thing bothered me for several reasons. I'm not going to get into that because cancel culture is real. Secondly, the JT Barrett, I hate him anyway because he didn't get that first down. I don't care what anybody says. And there's not very many Ohio State players that I enjoy watching anyway on any level, NFL included.
The only Ohio State player I will ever like is Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel's
Eddie George. I gotta go Eddie too.
Fair. Okay, all right, I get it.
But
I don't think I like any. I'm gonna be honest. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is my quarterback.
Yeah.
He was. So Phil, what's your NFL team?
He's a Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah, he's a Raider.
Oh, okay. I was trying.
Okay, I take that back. Jack Tatum.
I'm even trying to think
of. And he went to Ohio State. There we go.
Yeah, Jack Tatum. There you go. I heard something today that Tennessee may be inquiring for Hunter Renfrow. By the way,
I saw that too. We saw the same thing. And hopefully, I mean, I like Hunter Renfrow a lot. He's been great for the Raiders. He's been banged up a couple of years. I think he could help Tennessee. I selfishly want to keep him, but we're going nowhere fast, so it'll be good for Hunter Renfrow to.
And it's all because of Josh McDaniels. It's all, as Ryan can attest, it's all because of Josh.
Thank you for taking him, Phil.
I hate that guy.
He can go ruin your franchise for you. Thank you.
I love how you both ruined your franchises, at least for a season, Ryan, with the Nathaniel Hackett move as well. So
that's, you know what? Real quick, because we didn't really get to talk about it. What do you guys think about what Sean Payton said about Nat Hackett?
I think that was hilarious, but at the same time, it was a little disrespectful. It was legendary, but slightly disrespectful.
Nothing he said, nothing he said though was a lie. Nothing he said was a lie.
Yeah, but he's got to have some more couth than that. I mean, he's the head football.
He's probably
coach.
tired of having.
Well, that's what he said. That's what. So he did say that he had his Fox hat on when he said that. Like,
yeah,
he wasn't talking like he was a NFL coach. He was talking like he was sitting at the table at Fox. So I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, throw it down. And Aaron Rodgers threw some back at Sean Payton.
Right. I mean, I like that. I could
appreciate a little back.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. It's not as good as Dan Lanning's diss on Colorado.
It's not
good.
So I didn't hear that. I see your thing. What happened here?
Oh, Connor, can you throw it up? The quote.
I got it. I got you.
Ryan, throw up the quote.
So
it's
real quick, that the Sean Payton Nathaniel Hackett now means that I guarantee you the NFL is going to put Jets Broncos on Sunday Night Football.
Yes,
week 5.
They better.
Yeah.
They're gonna
because we will go. I don't know where that game is. I think
we will not watch because that game sounds like it's gonna be absolute shit.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't think either of your teams are going to be that good.
We're going to blow out the Jets.
I think the Jets are going to be good. I think
you don't think the Titans are going to be good either?
Incredible.
Oh no,
I think
I'm just saying the Jets
I think
are
the Titans are going all out. I think if they get Hunter Renfrow, then it's like for real. They're like, okay, this is it. So a reporter asked Dan Lanning what was like. It was the very last question of the press conference, and she asked him what were his thoughts and what was his reaction to Colorado leaving, and this was his quote after.
That's a perfect response.
And you know what Colorado fans said?
It was even better than this, though. It was even better than that quote because if I wish you could pull up the video of him saying it because it's just so condescending the way that he was just like. He was like, I don't remember them doing anything. And he pauses for a second. He's like, do you remember? And then he pauses, waits. I don't remember them doing anything. And then he ends the press conference. It was,
nice.
Absolute fire.
But really quick, I wanted to say this. The only reason Matt Hackett even has a job right now is because of Aaron Rodgers. And that's just a fact. That is a fact. So, anything that Sean Payton said, I don't like. For me, as a Broncos fan, I'm tired of hearing coaches like just coach speak. We dealt with Matt Hackett. Before that, we dealt with I can't even tell you who the former Broncos coaches were because they all sucked.
Hey, Vic Fangio was all right, man.
Vic Fangio had a defense, but
Vance Joseph.
Vance Joseph was ass. He's only back because we couldn't find anybody else for defensive coordinator.
Wait, where's Fangio? I thought he was the defensive coordinator for you guys again.
No,
is he with Miami?
But anyway, I was gonna say
Fox won the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Fox was good. Kubiak was good.
Well, Fox won the Super Bowl, but he was dragged there by that defense because they got blown out in 2013.
For sure.
But either way,
and then he did let Manning try and win the game against.
Like I've seen bad coaching jobs in the NFL, but Nathaniel Hackett with last year's Broncos team, with the acquisition of Russell Wilson, who I am not one of those people that says Russell Wilson has fallen off a cliff. I just don't believe it. And the final 2 games that after Hackett was fired and they ran just a vanilla offense and Russell Wilson had 6 touchdown passes in 2 weeks against the Chiefs and the Chargers. That looked like old Russell Wilson. That was Hackett's fault. And now hearing like Sean Payton say, well, Nat Hackett didn't have them do anything for practice. He didn't have Russell Wilson. He gave Russell Wilson his own office, treated him like he was a celebrity, let him have his own quarterbacks coach. He didn't even have the team, any of the starters. None of the starters last year played in preseason because he didn't believe in that. He was more about these guys having fun than actually playing football.
Well,
so I think Sean Payton.
I don't think the Ravens are gonna have any starters start.
When Sean Payton
they'll play in the third game. That's
they
what
asked.
They'll play a drive in the third game, but they're not gonna. Because the Ravens screwed themselves with the J.K. Dobbins injury 2 years ago.
They asked Sean Payton. They said so.
They lost like every running back on the roster that year.
They asked Sean Payton. They said, who are the guys on the second team we should be on lookout for the preseason? He's like, second team. He said Russell Wilson's playing the first game in preseason and might play the second and the third.
Wow.
Meanwhile, and what that just means is he's gonna tear his ACL or something.
And Sean Payton is the type of coach that will bench Russell Wilson if he plays terrible.
Oh, here we go. Is this it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so this is the actual. Hopefully we can hear it.
Not a big reaction. I'm trying to remember what they won to affect this conference. I don't remember. You remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything.
Damn.
Appreciate it. Not a big reaction. I'm trying to remember what they won to affect this conference.
They made the championship. What year was that? Was that 2016 when they made the championship game?
Yeah, and they got blown out by Washington. They got blown out by Washington.
Wait, hold on. Did he have a response to this?
No, he didn't. So they tried to make it like it was a response to Dan Lanning, but it was just the question that was asked to him was like, "What do you think about people talking about you and talking about Colorado and whatever?" And then Dion was like, "Everybody's got my name in their mouth, and I'm the shit, and it doesn't matter." And
so he did respond to it.
He
did respond to it. So he did respond. He said,
So
to
you know
USA
who's
Today.
great?
He said,
There's a
hold on,
guy.
Phil. Hold on. He did respond. He said to USA Today, to Dan Lanning, yeah, same teams that talk about us, right? That was his reaction when Oregon left to join the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Like basically saying they don't have room to talk because they also left the Pac-12.
Well, we went to an actual conference.
Oh my god.
I mean,
watch.
I'm getting hungry. Can we wrap this up?
I want to hear what Phil had to say. Phil was about to say something.
No. It's just a guy on. He creates content and he does a lot of like spoofs of Dion. I think his name is like Uncle Lou or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
His like interview, like, and I guess he was making fun of that interview, which I haven't seen of Dion because it was like the same setting, but it's hilarious. But yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to congratulate you guys again. Another great show.
Sweet.
Thanks, hey,
appreciate it. Coming up on 200 subs. We're getting there, boys.
Amazing.
I
saw that.
A
lot of growth lately.
Just a week and a half ago. Actually, no, wasn't a week ago.
Dude, Nathaniel Dell just made a sick touchdown.
Is that Tank Dell? Tank Dell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, just a week ago, we hit 150. In a week, we are at 177. We hit the 175 mile marker. So our stuff is starting to catch on.
I will do.
Your Twitter had a lot of traction too.
Yeah, that's Lucas. Give Lucas that credit.
I will do a Hokey Focus sometime either this week or
we might get kicked off, but I want you guys to see this. This catches.
What is this on Hulu?
It's on YouTube TV.
Oh, cool. By the way, I don't know how YouTube TV works, so I hope you guys didn't buy it. I know Lucas did.
Oh, I did.
I bought it.
I have it
for the NFL ticket.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't. You did?
I bought the NFL ticket.
I just put I just dropped like $400.
Yeah,
it was expensive.
I don't have that money.
I got it. I got it because I guess because I'm a YouTube Premium subscriber, so they gave me
a
25% off. So I got it for like $250.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So how long do you have to be subscribed to YouTube Premium?
No, I think if you got it within like a certain amount of time, like when they first announced it,
like
back
2
in
weeks.
It was like March or April. You had like it was like a month or two you had where it was like it was maybe like $100 or more off.
What a catch! Watch
so
us get copyright strike.
What was out?
Probably
now.
Will.
We probably will, but Ryan, remember we got to figure out that other thing so we can.
Oh, we're doing playback. We are doing playback. We'll figure that out.
But that's not way we can't stream that to YouTube, can we?
No,
it's on playback. Like it's on the actual you stream it through the playback app or whatever.
Okay, interesting.
But we could do live reactions, and what we could even do is we could be like simulcasting. We could do like what like what Brandon Pern and them do, like where they have the score put up and all that stuff on the side.
Well, that's why
we could do that,
mine.
and then we could do the playback stream simulcast. Like we could do it like at the same time.
And
just click back and forth.
It'd be two.
All right, guys.
Would it be two separate streams or something?
Let's get
All
out.
right, guys.
I'm gonna get out.
Take us out.
We'll see you around. This has been
right.
the Week Zero podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Help us get to the 200 subs as Phil leaves us, and it's just the three of us left. At least we have each other. So for Big 18, anyone, for Ryan Bonex for Heisman Travel, as Lucas leaves, and I'm Connor, your host, and we will be back next week with the SEC quarterback rankings.